It feels a little strange to say welcome to the end of day one, because I'm very aware that for some of you this is the end of day 2 or 3 or 4 or 900 if you've been waiting since 2020. So thank you for your energy and your engagement today. I'm very conscious when you stand here as a presenter, you just constantly think about the huge number of people that have put everything here on. So would you join me in saying a massive thank you to everyone who's playing their part, because it's dozens and dozens and dozens of people. Now, the thing about this gathering, it's a place to meet, but it's the place where things happen. So to sum up our first day together, and also, I believe, with news of something which has happened in the form of a very positive agreement indeed, please welcome up to our stage the Vice President of IAPB, Babar Qureshi.
Thank you, Ollie. Great to see that there's still a lot of energy in the room at the moment, and that's fantastic. That speaks very good. Indeed, I think before I start on the reflections of the day, it is really a pleasure to share a very good news with all of you. And that is that IAPB has signed a technical assistance implementation agreement with the Islamic Development Bank through the Islamic Solidarity Fund. This agreement will see us partner together for the next 2 years on a capacity development program for eye health decision makers and professionals across Francophone African countries. At this juncture, it is really my privilege to introduce Mr. Riad Ragueb, who's the Director, Cooperation and Capacity Development Department of the Islamic Development Bank. And on a personal note, he's a very fine gentleman who has a very clear thought and understanding of healthcare systems. I would like to invite him to say a few words. Mr. Riad, if you would kindly come up.
Good afternoon. As we say in our culture, Assalamu alaikum. You know who we are first. First, thank you for the invitation, but who we are, and then I will talk a little bit about ophthalmology. I'm not an ophthalmologist, just to say it as a disclaimer from the beginning. You know, we are the Islamic Development Bank. We have been, I think, in operation since 1975. We are a bank, an MDBs, a multilateral development bank, owned by the country of the South. We have 57 member countries, and we invested more than 170 billions in our member countries, in health, education, infrastructure, energy, etc. And in 2008, we decided now also to focus on ophthalmology. And we launched the Alliance to Fight Avoidable Blindness, which is a partnership program that brings together government, NGOs, Center of Excellence, to help people on the ground. We did the first generation, and now we started the second generation. In the second generation, we are focusing on 13 countries. Few numbers on those countries, just to share with you. 13 countries in Africa, 180 million inhabitants. Guess how many ophthalmologists? 400 ophthalmologists for 180 million inhabitants. You see now the situation. Data that we have, 3 million people are suffering from cataract, and they are in the backlog waiting for treatment. And I think the partnership with the IAPB for us is quite strategic. I will summarize this partnership with 4 S that are important. We are looking for strategic, sustainable solution for the South. 4 S, strategic, sustainable solution for the South. And I think I will be highlighting a few points, if you allow me, Babar. I think I heard today the discussions, and I think there is an elephant in the room which is missing. The Ministries of Finance and Budget. You can have priority, you can do whatever you want, but if we don't have the Ministries of Finance and Budget engaged in putting the resources for the Ministry of Health, at the end, nothing will be implemented. I think it's quite important in the discussion to bring in the discussion Ministries of Finance. This is point number one. Point number two, if you allow me also, I think the government should own everything from A to Z. And it should be under the leadership of the government. Donors like the bank, international NGOs, others can work, but we should empower and develop the capacity of the government, particularly the Ministry of Health. And I think that's is a key. If we want a long-standing solution, we have to deal with the government. Finally, as a bank, highlight 2-3 points, if you allow me. Now, we have the alliance, but as a bank, we are going to launch this year 2 new initiatives in the ophthalmic field. We are going to launch a program to help 10 million children in Africa to get screening in schools, eyeglasses, but not only that, to institutionalize local production of spectacle in Africa. That will be one of our priority. And the second program that we're going to launch is to double the number of ophthalmologists in those countries that we are dealing with, from 400 to 800 ophthalmologists, from 1,009 technicians, ophthalmic technicians, to 2,000. And we already started, we already provided 109 scholarship, and we'll be continuing. And again, we will be collaborating with the IAPB and doing all that great job together. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think we will get the...
Oh, that's
the... Well, now the quick summary for this morning. So if I was to ask you what's one thing that you remembered most in the morning, what was that? Yes, there was a Christmas tree lights in the morning. Yes, that's right. Absolutely. Well, I mean, I think the first thing is that we have had a very fantastic and a very diverse range of participants today. And we've seen representatives of ministries of health, WHO, NGOs, private sector. I mean, that's a very diverse group that was here today. And a huge amount of energy. To whichever session you went, one found that there was quite a bit of engagement and a lot of energy. Certainly, one thing that came out very clearly is the desire to move beyond collaboration to collective action. And one of the key recommendations that came out is that at national levels, we need to work together, be it NGOs, WHO, ministries of health, and IAPB, so that the action can be taken collectively. The other thing that was very clear, and that was the desire to work differently. And some of the suggestions that came out was to go beyond healthcare and look at contributions from out of the sector. To adopt a learning culture that actually extends that how can we be accountable to our work and make progress towards WHO targets. And also to take bold leadership, deliberately embracing diversity to advance the sector. Of course, there are challenges which we saw in different sessions which were discussed, and one of them was the need to build the evidence base. and others were to foster entrepreneurship as well as building the needed workforce and, most importantly, retaining professionals within the workforce. Now, looking at tomorrow, which is going to be another exciting day, we're delighted to have a keynote address from Professor Jamila Mahmood, who was the former Special Advisor to the Prime Minister of Malaysia on Public Health. We also have many rich sessions which we would like you to participate in, and I think you will really enjoy them. Some of them include eye health and world of work. There's going to be a WHO session on the initiative on specs. There's going to be a session on technology for access. There's going to be reimagination, eye health, and financing. And there's going to be one on climate action and campaigning. So I think you will see another completely different range of sessions tomorrow, which we all look forward to as we get to tomorrow. I think with this quick summary, I'm going to ask Ollie to take us through the next steps for the evening, because the evening is not over for many of us for quite some time. So, Ollie.
That sounds exciting, if nothing else. Thank you very much, Babar. For quite some time, you heard it here first. I endorse all of those trailers for tomorrow. Personal passion of mine, the Love Your Eyes campaign. We're going to take a deep dive into how that has come to life around the world tomorrow as well. So that will be another unmissable session. Well, as Babar says, so much today. So grateful to Ambassador Webson and to every other guest who's spoken with us today, and most of all to you for being here and really leaning into it. Thank you. In such a world-class auditorium, easy to just sit back and let things wash over you, but you've really done the opposite. You've really engaged. So thank you. Thank you.